Welcome back, everyone. Coming up now, we have Neo Bomberman Any Percent by DiegolazoR4. Take it away.
Ready, go!
Okay, looks like we are live, and well, while Diego is checking something with his microphone because it looks like there are some problems with him. Hello, everybody. Okay, Diego, yeah, now your mic works.
Hello everybody, welcome to this run of Neo Bomberman.
I'm Yo Senpai. I'm gonna be helping Diego with most of the commentary for the run, so whenever you're ready, Diego, let's go.
Okay, let me introduce the coin. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, because we're playing on a Neo Geo game, so we need to use a coin for a credit.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so this is Neo Bomberman, a self-explanatory title, which again, it's a Bomberman game, but for Neo Geo. This was released in 1997. Heavily inspired in Super Bomberman 4 for the Super Nintendo, that was released only in Japan in 1996. Talking about the concept and some kind of the stuff of the game related to the gameplay. And we begin on obviously on 1-1. What the was doing is that it looks like he's gonna be playing randomly, but the real thing is that he has started to move to a specific spot, because what he's trying to do is that he's manipulating the game in order to get some items. In this case, the items that we can get on these stages are the bombs, flames, and roller skates. And well, the bombs gives you the ability of using more bombs. The flame increases your flame range, and the roller skate makes you go faster. And as most of, not just to say all Neo Geo games, you can notice that on the bottom section of the screen there's something that says level. In this case, we're playing on level 1. This doesn't affect the gameplay in general, but what this does is that from the beginning you're gonna start with 2 bombs, 2 flames, and 2 roller skates. So this is like a most quickly start, most fastest movement for you when you begin with the run. But at the same time, some enemies that requires a lot of hits requires less of them, or some bosses has less health. That's the reason why we play this at level 1. Maybe you are one of the few people like Diegolazo that back in the day just played the normal mode, or maybe you are like me, like most people who play the game that just invested a lot of coins on the battle mode. But the good thing about speedrunning is that we can make a good amount of amazing things on speedrunning, such as this history mode. Now we are on the 3rd stage, and what Diego is keeping doing is not just to defeat the enemies, but at the same time he's trying to locate some power-ups that are gonna be helping him in order to progress in the game. Obviously, we're gonna keep getting some bombs, roller skates, and flames, but what Diego is gonna be looking for are some specific items, such as the wall pass, another self-explanatory item, which allows you to walk through the walls, meaning that you don't need to destroy the walls in order to make some way on the stage. So with this, you can keep walking without problems. I think on this stage we get the wall pass. Well, as we can see, Diego got a very good RNG there with the spawn of the wall pass. He got it right on the beginning of the stage. That was pretty good, mostly considering that we are not on a PB run or something like that, since we are showcasing this in a marathon. At the same time, we're gonna be getting these enemies that, talking about the concept of Bomberman, those can be called as Louis, which are enemies that once you defeat them, in this case, they get turned into eggs. They can be organic or artificial eggs. And I suppose that each of them has some special ability. But most of the time, when we get some of these Louis, are gonna be like it's just to have it like a kind of protection, like a kind of shield. Because if you receive damage having a Louis, you're not gonna lose the life. You're just gonna lose the Louis. So it is really important to don't die, otherwise you're gonna be losing some of your power-ups. Like in this case, also Diego on the same stage that he got the wall pass, he got this red bomb, which what this does is that it just explodes it destroys all the walls depending of your flame range. So this is like the important combination for the beginning of the run. And now it's time to play against the first boss that I forgot it. How does this called? How this guy was called? It's like a Gugos or something like that. Sorry. Okay, the Hookos. Sorry, I used to forget the names of the bosses. So anyway, so what Diego is doing here is that this is a pretty simple boss, an easy boss. It just requires 6 hits. And what Diego is trying to do is that this ghost is gonna try to stomp over you. So he's gonna try to keep as close as he can to the ghost, right to the section where the ghost is gonna move. So with this, he can put a bomb in the correct spot that he needs to spawn the bomb, to put the bomb in order to defeat this enemy. Because at the same time, Diego was timing his bomb in order to put in the correct position all this stuff. And with this, we can get a good amount of time trying to defeat this first boss. Now we are gonna enter into the second world. There are a total of 5 worlds in the game, and now we have this underwater world. Which again, on the first stages, there are not so many things to mention. And also, you maybe were gonna notice that we got a blue Bomberman on the last world that was like a kind of alley. So, in some stages, Diego's gonna try to spawn them that are on those alleys are on some kind of jails or cages. But depending on the stage, is gonna be where those Diego is gonna be freeing them, because at the stage clear screen, that the one that we're watching right now, this just gives to us it tells you us all the points that we have got, all those things, all the alleys that you get, you unlock in order to make that they help you through this stage. Just makes you losing more time, because they also give you points. Now you're gonna be watching that Diego is having a jellyfish. This is also considered as a backup, so just in case you have died or something like that and you lose a wall pass, the jellyfish ability is the same as the wall. But since he has been using the Louis just to do some kind of damage boosting in order to save some time and defeat some enemies, so that's why you're gonna be watching that he's gonna be switching a lot between the Louis. The important Louis that we need in this case, because it helps to us to move slightly faster, is gonna appear on the third world. So that's gonna be like the kind of important Louis to preserve on this situation. And on the last stage, we got those little chickens called the Charge, that unfortunately those are RNG based, and talking about their movement, because as their name say, they charge, and then after that they start to move. And if they touch you when they are moving quickly, you're gonna receive damage, or maybe you're gonna die. So in that case, Diego tried to make that a bit faster, but he hasn't timed correctly the movement from the chargers. That's another bad thing about that, because you need to be really, really precise sometimes in order to defeat those enemies if you want to save time. Now 2-6, and just in case that Diego has died or something like that, he can also get a wall pass, as we can see at the top right section of the screen. But in this case, he doesn't need it. It just gonna gives to us points, and we have it already. But again, we're speedrunning this. This is not a sport exhibition or something like that, like the previous run. So we need to keep going faster. But if you're a person like me, there's a high chance that when you run some games, even when you know that those stuff just give you points and they doesn't give you nothing, you're gonna go and try to chase them. Believe me. Now 2-7, we have the twin fishes. Again, we require some timing. Unfortunately, Diego failed the timing with the second bomb. We need to give 3 hits to the fishes. And in this case, what do we want is what Diego has done with the red fish. That on this case, since at the first instance when the fishes spawns, this is gonna be like the most lowest pace that the lowest movement that the fishes are gonna have. So this is like the kind of opportunity we want to have in order to defeat those fishes. Otherwise, we're gonna be wasting a good amount of time, as we have seen with the jellyfish. Since we just have made 1 hit against them, unfortunately, this took more time, and at the same time, on the second time that that fish is spawned on the screen, it moves a bit faster. So now we are on the third world, and this is a Raj Racer, talking about the Louis that Diego is using right now. This is kind of important because the ability of this Louis is that it can make you moving so fast to other sections of the stage really quick. And well, now some enemies were a bit trouble with Diego, so he needed to move a little bit before he tried to get the detonator. That this is gonna be the next important item to preserve in the rest of the run, because again, this is self-explanatory. What this does is that you don't need to wait anymore in order into a bomb in order to explode. You can force the explosion. So this is another important item to keep if you wanna go faster in the game and you wanna save time. You know, the Yoyorin that are this kind of knifed enemies requires a good amount of hits in order to get defeated. So sometimes those can be a big mess.
Oh, that was close.
Well, that's a really close one. We have a fun story with this because last year, but Diegolazo and myself played this on a co-op mode in a marathon. We have made a co-op race of this, and one of these stages he got stuck, so I needed to come to save him. That was something really funny because when he realizes that he got trapped himself between bombs, he was like, "Ghost, help!" Yeah, I know, that gave me fun memories about that. And now we have 3-5. Diego has spawned the bomb explosions. That is an ability that are commonly used in Super Bomberman games. That basically is that every time that you begin in a stage, you're gonna have some invincibility frames. So if you start to spawn the bombs, like exploding them and putting them while you explode them, you're not gonna receive damage. So with this, you're gonna be exploding everything on your side, everything on your way. And 3-6, okay, another stage where you can get a backup Raj Racer. Mostly since, again, we're gonna be using we're gonna be abusing of this, and we're gonna be doing some damage boostings in order to try to save as much time as we can.
Oh.
And there we go, let's keep going. Now, we have completed 3-7. This was the last stage where we can get this Louis, because in the next world we're not gonna get none of them. And now we have Pogo, another easy boss, mostly since we have the detonator. Because what does this boss does that I'm not gonna say that unfortunately we haven't seen him in action, because again, this is a speedrun, this is the best for us. So what does this boss do is that he's gonna start to jump randomly in some parts of the map on the stage, and after that he's gonna be throwing some musical notes that are gonna prevent you from making him damage. So we use the detonator in order to spawn these bombs. And maybe you have noticed that I have said that there are no Louis in this world, but you have seen that there are 2 organic eggs there. So is there a Louis or something like that? Well, these Louis are the Ombu, which are the worst one in the game. Maybe in multiplayer there can be helpful in order to have a kind of shield, but on the speedrunning of the normal mode of the game, those are really helpful because they move slow. It doesn't matter if you have got a lot of roller skates, it's gonna move at half of the normal speed of Bomberman without rolling skates. So that's something that we don't want to use, or we don't want to have in the game. And now moving on the next stages, this is 4-3, I think.
I think
okay.
4-3,
So,
right?
Yeah, it was 4-3. We need to be really careful on these next stages because there's a high chance that the red bomb spawns again. And if we get it, the detonator is gonna be deactivated. So if we saw this item, we need to destroy it or just ignore it. So again, this is like something really, that can be something really unfortunate. And there's a special alley here that Diego hasn't freed, but depending on the marathon, I like to free him just to make some jokes. So I don't think that joke is gonna be something good for now. So if you wanna know which alley was that, just play the game casual, and you will know it. This is another unfortunate moment because Diego was trolled by those enemies that are the grunts, or based on DiegolazoR words, the chickens. That up to this day, I still don't find. Yeah, I up to this day I don't find the shape of a chicken on those enemies. But Diego says that those are chickens. So those are a bit troll enemies because when you those enemies require a good amount of damage. Well, we had the red bomb there. Okay, that was a good moment about talking about exploding it. So with the grunts, those enemies requires I think at 3 hits. They require 3 hits in order to be defeated. But when you make
one player, yes, it's only 3 hits for the chicken.
Okay, if you make them damage, they're gonna start to move faster through the stage. So if you don't have a detonator, probably that's gonna be like a real headache in order to defeat. Now for the 7, we're gonna have here 7 fake Bombermans that have regular bombs, but the range of their flames are really low. So what Diego's gonna try to do is that he's gonna try to make I don't know how to say this, to close them or try to put a kind of trap in order to make that they get stuck, so they can be defeated really easy. But sometimes there's a fake bomber that can be a real headache, like this one that is trapped by itself, so we haven't made nothing there. Well, for last egg, Atomic Bomber. This is a boss with an excellent AI, but again, we're speedrunners, we need to break the game. So the ability of the Atomic Bomber is that when he's flashing, you cannot make him damage. But when a bomb explodes against it, he's gonna get on the same spot. So what Diego has done here is that first he has thrown a bomb and waited until the Atomic Bomber destroyed it with its ability, where you cannot make them damage, but he can explode any bombs around him. And with this, he just starts to spawn the bombs and the detonator, and that's everything. And now in World 5, we're gonna be watching again some of these enemies that we have seen on previous worlds. This is the last world of the game, and usually there are not so many things to mention here, so I think that we have like 1 to 2 minutes in case that the hosts want to make any announcement related to the marathon.
Sure. So, Velocity Online 2021 is benefiting Rise Above the Disorder, which is a nonprofit dedicated to battling the two greatest barriers to mental health care: access and affordability. To accomplish their mission, they provide a universal mental health care system to people around the world. Too many people can't afford mental health care, so we're working to change that. If you believe in a world where everyone has access to hope, health, and happiness they deserve, you are rad.
Okay, so moving on with the game, again we got back this Louis, but it looks like this enemy was trolled again with Diego, which is the Gakusha, which I think it just changes its movement if it locates a kind of obstacle, and that's everything. But again, sometimes it can be a bit trolling, as we have seen, and since it finds that Bomberman was on the same line as it, he just has lost. Well, that enemy just made that Diego lost the razor there. But now Diego is having another good Louis, which is the Dachshund. But well, he had lost it, and which is good. I prefer to have the bullet here instead of the Dachshund, because as you have seen, the Dachshund is the fastest way that you have to move. But trying to control your movements can be a bit tricky if you use it, so it's better to keep another Lu instead. So in this case, the bullet, if you press the B button, you can shoot it, and their flying range is gonna be the same as your bomb flying range. And again, this is mostly like the world of the revisit, so this is not there are not so many things to mention here. But also this is another stage where you need to be really careful, because this is the last stage where you can get the red bomb, and again, getting the red bomb means to disable or lose the detonator. And also we got that golden flame that increases your flames to at a maximum range, but I think that Diego already has its maximum range already.
Yeah, I have the maximum range.
Okay, he has
The range of
good
this
amount.
game is so different, so low than the other Super Bomberman games.
Talking about the amount of flame that you can collect in order to have your range as much as possible in the game. And on 5-7, using it as required, there's a backup boot, but we barely use it on the run, so that's not like a big thing. And well, 5-8, unfortunately we're not gonna be able to do the Ratchet Razor strat, but okay, I was lying, I forget that Diego got another one. So this is the Bagura's head. This is a boss that is gonna be rotating by itself around the map, and sometimes some skeletons are gonna be spawning. So if we have on the next phase. Okay, I will hope that we're gonna apologize, because it's common for us, for Latin American speedrunners, when we're on marathons, the worst RNG that we can get is the IRL RNG with our family. So unfortunately, Diego was a victim from that RNG, because his family was telling some stuff to him. And well, unfortunately now Diego has lost the racer, but it's not like a big problem. The time is gonna finish once the fun party begins and bomber cheer animation begins, and that was time. And well, there's not so much time to talk about this boss, but
what's a decent time for this run? For marathon, it's okay. 21.
Yeah, which was your PB? I used to forget that all the time.
2022.
Okay, just almost a minute ahead of your PB, but again, for marathon purposes, this was a pretty decent time. And well, as I have said before, I have run this game with Diego. I run also this game, but on co-op mode. I haven't found myself some time in order to practice the any person or the single player mode of this. And but Diego and the PB that I have with Diego and I on the multiplayer mode, it's 24:57, but Diego has been wanting to give it a try to the single player mode recently, so this is a good GG for him. He has he has found some new strats in the game that even the world record doesn't apply, so I don't know, maybe on a future moment he's gonna be featured again on the marathon, achieving the world record and maybe having a lot of additional surprises. And well, this was Neo Bomberman, the normal mode. That it's any person run of the game, and well, that Bagura's cat just had 12 hits in order to get defeated, and well, there was just 3 paces, so that wasn't like a big thing. And well, I think that I don't have nothing to add, just that if you want to see more Bomberman action, don't forget to follow DiegolazoR on Twitch. And that's all that I have to say. I don't know if Diego has something to